All right, so if you're just joining us, I know we only got a few, but we're gonna post this later. Um, Pretty much we're just breaking down our Dynasty draft. This is the first Dynasty format that I've ever done. I think Steve, he's done one, and I don't think Ryan. Ryan, have you done one?
These, one sec.
All right, draft's kicked off.
Okay, there we go.
First pick right off the board, Dalvin Cook. And our league mate that was talking about him kind of mentioned about that. We know he's a Vikings fan, and yeah, he kind of made his bed, and now he's gonna lie in it, kind of type
Yeah,
deal. I don't think it's a bad pick, but probably not what I would have done first. Dalvin Cook is still relatively young. He's 24. Running backs hit their prime at what, 27? So around 27, 26. So he's probably got some good years. I mean, he's Dalvin Cook. He's dealt with some injury, but it's
yeah, he's
Dalvin
the
Cook.
bell
Like,
cow.
come on. Yeah.
All right, let's see what the next pick is.
Christian McCaffrey. Pick 102. So that's another one we could have probably saw coming at some point. Christian McCaffrey's still not, I mean, he's relatively young as well. I think he's around 24, 25. So he's got some good years ahead of him as long as he stays healthy. Last
Yeah,
year we saw that could potentially be an issue, but I think that was more just an outlier season for him. I think he'll be back to being healthy and doing what he does as the bell cow over there,
he's gonna have a
Carolina.
better year this year.
Absolutely.
All right, so we're looking at
Yeah. So
pick
just
three.
just just for some context, this format it's dynasty format obviously, but we have one super flex spot, one QB, and a tight end premium. So what that means is it's normal PPR scoring, but tight ends get 1.5 points per reception, whereas everybody else just gets one. And then the
Right, yeah,
super
my pick
flex,
off.
yep, we got Mahomes going third, um, which is I think probably a really good pick, especially value wise at the third pick. And like I was saying, the context of the league, we have that super flex spot, so you can play a quarterback in the flex super flex spot and play two quarterbacks every week. Obviously,
Exactly.
quarterbacks score on average, I'd say more than most. So I think that's a good pick at three, Patrick Mahomes. Right, guy, your camera is sideways. I don't know if you care or not.
Let me see real quick. Let's see if I can like prop
There you
this
go.
up.
Perfect.
There we go. Is that better?
Solid.
All right.
All right, we got the fourth pick in. Go ahead, Ry. You see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got, this is what we're looking at as our draft board on Sleeper. I know this is ghetto. I'm like screen sharing by holding my phone, but so we got Alvin Kamara going fourth, which is another one that I think is a lot of good value. You know, I am a little skeptical about Alvin Kamara just because I don't know the QB situation, and we've seen that kind of had an effect on his production when Taysom Hill was the um, quarterback for Drew Brees last year, but obviously Taysom Hill is a running quarterback. If they have someone that more emulates Drew Brees, I think they'll be all right. And he's
I'm
on
thinking,
Kamara. Yeah,
yeah, that Kamara pick will be good. I think that Jameis Winston is going to probably win that starting job. Still throw 40 interceptions, but
yeah,
I think Alvin Kamara is going to be good value there.
absolutely. Derek, sorry, Ryan, you want to break down your pick at five?
Yeah, so I'm just going with the bell cow. That's what, like, pick wise, with my first pick. Obviously, this is a two QB league, and with the super flex, they're super valuable. But the way that I see the NFL going, especially in the future, is we're not going to see a lot of these bell cow running backs like Henry, like an Alvin Kamara, maybe emerge unless they're special like these two guys.
Mm-hmm.
So with my pick, I wanted to get a guaranteed bell cow type running back for my one. I could have went Jonathan Taylor there, but and he's a beast, absolutely. But Marlon Mack is coming back. They re-signed him, so we're looking at a split backfield essentially. As good as he is, I want more of the guaranteed carries. I want more touches. So it would have been either Alvin Kamara or Derrick Henry, depending whoever fell to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we got Travis Kelsey off the board.
Yeah, Travis Kelsey is our first tight end at 5, or is that 5? At 6, excuse me. Which I still think is, we're just gonna see that. It's like we were talking about the tight end premium. A lot of people have never played with that. I've never played with that, so it'll be new for me. But still interesting to see a tight end go in the first round. Especially when you got, I don't know, you got Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. These guys sitting there looking at you, and you go. I mean, I'm not knocking it because, like I said, tight end premium. You never know. Imagine someone had Kelsey and Kittle on the same team. Even you could play both those guys with the super flex and the tight end premium. That might be a good strategy to have. So we'll see how that plays out.
Yep. Swoop up all the tight ends. I mean, the NFL has a tight end issue.
Yeah.
They're just like, besides Kyle Pitts that's coming, there's not a lot of really good tight end prospects coming into the league that could be like a Travis Kelsey type tight end.
Right.
So I could definitely see that Kelsey pick being pretty good.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm not dogging it at all. Like I was saying, especially just how he plays. Someone just posted in the chat that Kelsey gets 10+ receptions a game, and it's true. Like, he's a catch monster. He's always open.
Absolutely.
And even if he is getting 10 receptions and 50 yards, that PPR is still going to make up for it. So, not a bad pick.
All right, so we're seeing.
We got our first.
That's gonna be Josh Allen.
Yep, Josh Allen.
All right, sucks. Mike, you're staring at 2 running quarterbacks.
Yep.
You got Saquon Barkley, who's coming off an ACL, so that's always an issue.
Yeah. So for me, just looking at this, I definitely, and you also had to keep in mind the context of Dynasty and just in general, right? You got to pick a team. You're either going to pick a team that you want to win now, or you want to build for, a lot of wins in the future.
Yeah.
And Josh Allen actually would have been my pick, just because I feel like he's obviously young and he's going to be a fantasy relevant monster for a while. In that super flex spot, that would have been fun to have Josh Allen and someone else, playing there. But I do love Kyla Murray. He was my quarterback for a lot of in a lot of leagues last year, and I'm going to roll with him again if it lets me. Yep. So I'm going Kyla Murray for a few reasons. Obviously, he's got the fantasy upside of running quarterback, but also he has a better team this year, just in general.
Absolutely.
Look at them bolstering the defense and everything they've done over there. And the draft hasn't even happened yet. He just has all the weapons to succeed as long as he stays healthy. I think he's going to be a fantasy monster, and like I was saying and he's young too. So in the super flex spot, or even just as he's probably going to be my starting quarterback for most of the time. But it's just a lot of value, I think, for Kyler Murray going at the 9th overall pick in the first round in this format of league.
I wasn't expecting Kyler Murray to be there. That you got some. I think you really got some pretty good value there. And of the 2 quarterbacks that were just taken out of Josh Allen or Kyler Murray, I could definitely see more regression coming Josh Allen's way. I just like that 1-2 punch of Kyler Murray with DeAndre Hopkins. I just like Hopkins better as a receiver overall. And I don't know. They are definitely a contender this year.
Absolutely.
And I think they're actually going to probably do better than the Bills, because like you said, they're shoring up that defense. And I don't know,
if the defense puts you in great positions to score, then you're going to score more points. That's just football talk.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. Thank you, John Madden.
Yeah, exactly.
Now what you want to do is get the ball in the end zone.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
All right, so we got Lamar.
We got Devontae Adams going 10, first wide receiver off the board, and Lamar Jackson going 11. And then we got Ron picking 12. He's going to be an auto pick. He's at work, he told me. But so he's going to get Saquon because that's who's next. He's going to get Saquon and Justin Herbert. So we know the next 2 picks. Justin Herbert might be a great pick, auto pick for him. Another young guy that obviously had an awesome season last year. He lost Hunter Henry, but I don't think that'll affect him too much, especially with a healthy Austin Eckler. We just have a good defense or a good offense, in San Diego. So
as a pick, man, Justin Herbert's going to be good because I was looking up the stats. He had the worst offensive line in the NFL last year. The worst graded, I even think by like PFF standards.
Right.
And he had a Rookie of the Year season.
Yep.
So if they do what they think they're going to do in the draft, is this really nice tackle class that's coming up, if they get him some protection, like that whoever gets Justin Herbert, that should be a pretty good pick. So, and that, getting Saquon Barkley at 12, I mean, he could just be a freak and recover from the ACL. It's happened before. So if he ends up getting Saquon Barkley, he comes back with a better offense. Hopefully, kind of get that defense a little bit better. That could be maybe the steal of the draft if he's the same Saquon Barkley that we saw his first couple of years.
I agree. Yeah, I think Saquon's one of those guys where it's like a lot of people he slides in a lot of drafts. Like even Nick.
We got a Nick Chubb.
He took Nick Chubb. Maybe he's on, and he's like fooling us.
Maybe Nick Chubb, good pick.
Yeah, so he took Nick Chubb.
Okay.
All right.
Now coming back to him.
Yeah, pulled the rug out from underneath us. I think he probably just got on, and he's like, "I'm taking Nick Chubb."
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, but I agree with the Saquon take as well. I mean, sometimes you just got to think, come on, like it's Saquon. Look what he did. It's still Saquon. Yes, he had an injury that, a pretty bad injury, but still like, he cued his players. Okay.
Okay, so cute him up.
Yeah, so he knows who he wants if they're there.
So, he could just be, there's those freaks of nature that, as people like to say, are like, just physically built different than most.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see Saquon being one of those guys. It's still a risk, but these picks in the draft, like 2 years ago, Saquon was argued as the number 1 pick. He went number 1 in a lot of leagues.
It's true.
So seeing him drop that far down to 12 is insane. Like if you told me a couple of years ago Saquon Barkley would drop to a 12th, 13th, 14th pick, I'd say you're nuts.
Right. Yeah, that's impressive. I mean, like, in this I understand it because of the format, but yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. Definitely because, I mean, with our Superflex, QBs are definitely way more valuable.
Yep, QBs. So we also have not that it means too much, but an interception is -2 versus the standard -1. So I was trying to kind of balance the wide receivers, running backs, tight ends, and quarterbacks, almost to not for them to be the same value, but almost to get them closer in value than they normally would. So that's why
I think that's a good like balance tweak.
Yeah.
And we got Tyreek Hill going off.
Because like look at when Jameis was in Tampa Bay, he was always fantasy relevant in Tampa Bay. He was throwing, he had 500-yard games, but he would throw 4 interceptions with it, and it's like
yes, exactly.
That shouldn't be the same value as me playing Aaron Rodgers. I don't know.
No, I agree. I mean, the only reason they weren't a Super Bowl team that year was because of Jameis Winston.
Because of the interceptions, yeah.
Like, look what Tom Brady – I know Tom Brady is, people say he's the GOAT, but look what he was able to do just inserting himself onto that team with that defense, with a pretty decent offensive line. They won a Super Bowl. He was the thing holding them back.
Yep. So Saquon goes at the 202. Justin Herbert goes at the 203, and I'm up at the 204.
So we got Justin Herbert down.
Yep. So just for some people who's available still, Justin Jefferson still available. DeAndre Swift. This is who Sleeper's recommending as the top guys. Cam Akers, J.K. Dobbins, Aaron Jones, CEH, A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf. A lot of stud receivers.
Oh yeah.
But this is a super flex league. So I see Dak Prescott and Russell Wilson staring at me, and also Joe Burrow. I don't know if I have the stones to go after Joe Burrow coming off that injury. But that would be potentially another young quarterback. If I stacked Kyler and Joe Burrow for years to come, that could potentially win me a lot of games, So right now I'm thinking about possibly a quarterback just because who's left. Russell Wilson, you know he's going to be in the top 7 to 10 range, probably for the next at least 2 or 3 years, at least.
Yeah, and he's not happy there. There are a lot of people like mock drafting, like.
Yeah, and that's the thing that
packaging the deal.
That's kind of thing that makes me reluctant about it. Man, this one's kind of hard for me. I'm not gonna lie. And I also got some stud tight ends: Kittle, Waller, Mark Andrews. They're all still there. Clock's ticking.
We got on my side 13.
Yep. So I went with Russell Wilson. Just thinking about it.
It's a good stack of QBs.
Yeah, Russell Wilson's kind of the guy that always seems to somewhat get overlooked in fantasy drafts, I feel like. But he always produces. He's always talked about as an MVP at some point in the season,
Yeah.
And that super flex spot is just so important that you can play a quarterback there. And I think I have 2 guys here that don't throw a lot of interceptions, to be honest. So, I mean, Kyler's young, but
extremely accurate.
Yeah, and at least safe with the ball. So, I mean, I like the stack that I have. Yeah, I'm gonna let Russ cook, as one of our league mates just posted in here.
Yeah. Here's the thing, man. They both can run.
Yep, absolutely.
Russ is not afraid to run either.
So this is what we're looking at. We missed a few picks, so I'm just gonna show you guys the screen. So we got first round. My pick: Kyla Murray, Devontae Adams, Lamar Jackson, Nick Chubb. Tyreek Hill went at the.
So we got DeAndre Swift off the board now.
Yeah, that's a good pick. Josh Allen and DeAndre Swift. See, that's a team that could do a lot of damage for years to come.
Yep.
So we got Saquon, Herbert went. I got my QB stack, and we are at the 2-6. And I think this is going to be a competitive league, just how it's turning out.
Yeah.
And going back to that Kelsey pick, I'm actually not surprised that my buddy Hound Dog took it because he's a diehard Chiefs fan, so he probably couldn't resist. Yeah, Nick Foles.
Even the top tight ends, like you have George Kittle, Darren Waller, even like Waller was pretty close to catching Kelsey last year, but I still think Kelsey's just a slice above any of them. Like you have Kelsey and I think all the tight ends. With Darren Waller kind of like, so we got Metcalf off the board.
Yeah, Metcalf goes at the 206. So Coffee's got the Jonathan Taylor, DK Metcalf, 2 young guys. Yeah. DeAndre Hopkins goes. And Ryan's up at the 208.
Let me see.
So who's available for you, Ryan? We got Justin. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. 2 Justin Jefferson, which is kind of hard to pass up. So right now I am thinking either Justin Jefferson or Dak Prescott because I know that Dak he's not going to be here when he comes back, like when it all comes back.
Right. Scroll down.
This is a thinker.
Yeah, Dak is
wavering.
Yeah. Yeah, that one's definitely a thinker, no doubt. Yeah, so those are the quarterbacks we got going. Some running backs.
Considering, yeah, I guess considering what I'm gonna go probably Dak, but this is just because of the QBs that are off the board.
Hmm. So you just want to, you're saying you want to try to make sure that you get one of these top
Just at least
fantasy
one.
fantasy quarterbacks.
Exactly. Yeah. It was tough.
So that goes.
Yeah, I wanted
Yeah.
to get one super fantasy relevant QB, and I didn't want to draft a QB that early, but uh, I'm still not sure about that pick, but we'll see.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to make those. You
Yeah.
still have Derrick Henry, who he's 27, so could be going into his prime year. I don't know how he's going to
Yeah.
do better than last year, but maybe he wants that record that he missed out on last year. What was it? Was it 2,000 yards? He was a 2,000-yard rusher last year, right?
He was, yeah. I think it's 2 years in a row he's
Hmm.
gone for 2,000. Maybe it's three.
Yeah, he was the leading rusher, I know, last year and the year before. So,
I think I think with this pick with Dak Prescott, if it wasn't a super flex league, I would have passed him. But
yeah.
because of the super flex, like QBs are just, I mean, they're valuable in any format. But just because of that super flex, strategy wise, you want to have at least one.
Absolutely. And like I was saying, I think I don't think I said this, but just coming off an injury, I think Dak's got something to prove. A lot of
Yeah,
people are like questioning about his contract and all this stuff, and I think Dak's a baller. He's gonna ball out.
yeah.
And
He
there's
can
another
ball.
person. He can ball, boy.
He can ball. I've seen him throw the ball, and it's pretty cool when he does. That's all I know. I like balls.
Balls.
You're
All
not
right,
recording, right?
I am, but it's all good. We're live for the internet right now, baby. We are
Internet.
exposed. Yeah.
I love balls.
That's what I was saying before. Like, 'cause I was screen sharing on the first live. I was like, you guys don't know the pressure of sharing your entire screen with the whole
Yeah.
internet. Like, what could you be looking at? What pops up?
I'm liking the Aaron Jones pick from
Yeah.
D's Nuts or Des Nuts.
Des nuts. Yeah. Close enough.
Please in the comments, how would you like me to pronounce that? D's or Des? All right. I like Alex's. I like that pick
CEH.
with Clyde. Yeah, CEH. He has a really good stack of running backs.
Yeah, he does. I would agree. And not just that, but they're both PPR running backs. You know,
Absolutely.
they're both going to get just a bunch of work, and that's kind of what I'm sweating over now. Looking at all the running backs that have gone, um, there's not going to be much for me, so I'm going to have a pretty weak running back set, I think, available for me when I get back when this comes back around. So
Yeah.
we'll see, but um, maybe I take a third quarterback and just look for a trade.
Yeah.
You know,
All right. So you
Zeke.
got Zeke.
So Zeke finally goes, and I've been being quiet about Zeke, um, and he's the other one. So I was talking about Dak having a bounce back. I think Zeke has a bigger bounce back,
Absolutely,
and
man.
he's young too. He's 24. I mean, we're talking about Zeke. Zeke went in the third round just now. To me, that's crazy, but we'll see.
Like I was hoping he would drop to me.
Yeah, I
If
was.
Zeke,
Yeah,
yeah, like if Zeke came back, I would have took a Zeke and Dak Prescott type stack. Just because I mean, last year Dak was hurt. Zeke had a calf issue. Their O line was hurt. You can't really expect them to produce under those circumstances.
of course. Yep.
All right, so we got Alex coming in. What do we got left? We got
Yeah, it's interesting.
quarterback-wise, we got Joey Burrow.
Yep, we got Aaron Rodgers, Jalen Hurts, Deshaun Watson, which I think people are going to avoid him like the plague.
Yes, they are. I
Um,
understand why.
yeah,
I would not touch that dude right now.
yeah, yeah. Stafford, Tannehill, some guys that typically you can stream, especially I think Stafford is a sleeper too. I'm a big Stafford guy, but man, with that offense and the Rams, and we talk about a team that's going to put him in a good position to score a lot. Like, look at that defense, man. He's gonna score a lot, and
Oh yeah.
he's still Stafford. So Kittle, our second tight end goes, which I think is an awesome pick. I was surprised that he slid this far as well with that tight end premium.
Yes, we
Um,
got Kittle off the board. Now we're looking at still got AJ Brown. He's fallen a little bit.
yep. So here's another thing that I was thinking about. So we're talking about our dynasty draft, how we flip, um, the draft order flips for the rookie draft. I took two quarterbacks with my first two picks. But I have the fourth pick in the rookie draft, right? And you talk about the four rookie quarterbacks. You and I talked about this. Um, so now I kind of played myself out of taking a quarterback, at least on paper. I
Yeah.
could still take one, obviously, but it'd be kind of weird to have Kyler or Russell and I don't know Justin Fields. That'd be like, all
Right.
right, one of them's on my bench, or I'm trading them, which is still valuable, but just something else to think about when we're looking at our draft position in this draft. You always kind of have in the back of your mind where you at in the rookie draft and what positions do you think are going to be available.
Absolutely. And with like if you're able, like if Justin Fields goes to San Francisco, which I still don't know, but if he does and you're able to pick him up, you could move him probably for something because Justin Fields on that offense, he's going to tear it up.
Yep.
There's little to no doubt. So we got Calvin Ridley.
Calvin Ridley goes to these nuts.
Yep, D's
At the
D's nuts has
Des
accepted
nuts.
Calvin Ridley on this team.
Yep.
Thank you, D's. So we got, and he was a beast last year. I had him on the. It was the FFL league, the the Dirty Glove League. That's what it was. And the family league we had.
Yep.
He was a
Ridley's
beast.
always, yeah. And he's another guy that probably a couple years ago, if you drafted him in dynasty format like this, you love that pick. Like he's just turning out production every year.
Yep.
I think that's a really good pick too, especially in the third round.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Austin
receivers gone
Eckler,
now. Yep. Austin Eckler goes. Another PPR machine. You saw what he did when he
good
came
PPR
back from
back.
injury. He was immediately putting up 20-point games. Um, yeah, Eckler's an awesome pick.
All right, so we got Cam Akers. I'm struggling internally. Let's see what we got.
Hey,
So we
Nicole,
got Cam Akers
can you help Ruger?
as a possible really good 1-2 punch.
If
Because
he wants
I've
one.
made the argument at the beginning of like the season that he could be an our running back one
Yep.
in this McVay offense.
Akers, yeah. Like you said, I mean, you were high on Akers. You said what? Um,
I think he'd be a top 5.
he
Yeah,
could
I think he's
be a
I
top
think he's gonna
five.
be a top 5 back this year.
Well, here's your chance to double down.
Double down. Oh man.
That's tough. That is tough. But I mean, if you think, I mean, this is a third round. I feel like there's been quite a bit of running backs that have gone surprise. I was gonna think that there'd be more quarterbacks gone, to be honest with you. And now I feel like I jumped the gun because there is a lot of good quarterbacks available. Obviously, the top 5 guy or 4 or 5 guys you want to say are probably gone. But
So some could say this is a reach, but I kind of came in with the idea to go one running back, one QB because of the premium, one tight end. So I'm seeing Darren Waller stare at me. I'm going down the
Mhm.
board a little bit to grab him,
Mhm.
but just because of the premium and just how like desolate the like the NFL is with tight ends, I
Tight
don't
ends,
think
yeah,
I can
man.
pass him up.
Yeah, to me there's a tier one and tier two of tight ends. Tier one is Kelsey Kittle, and tier two is Waller. Right now it's Waller and Mark Andrews. I think
Yeah.
Hawkinson is teetering on the tier two. Like he's kind of on par, but he's got a new quarterback and the team's gonna be whatever. But Kittle and Kelsey to me are almost synonymous, um, as long as Kittle's healthy. And
Yeah.
Darren Waller is kind of on the cusp of being at that tier one level as well. So I think if you get any of those three guys, you automatically have an advantage over the other, how many ever guys in the league.
Now there
Or
is a
Bills.
chance where we at sleeper. We could see a run on tight ends coming up.
Yeah.
Just because of the premium. Because looking at the tight ends we have left on the board, let's see what we got. We got the same guy, the guys you just talked about. We got Andrews and Hawkinson.
Yep. Yep. Down the line, Robert Tonyan, I think, could be a sneaky pick at tight end.
Mm-hmm.
And then don't forget we got Kyle Pitts coming into the league this year as well.
Yep, I'm curious
Um,
to see where he goes.
Absolutely. J.K. Dobbins goes at the 306. Um, Another good young running back on a run-heavy team. Solid
Yep.
pick.
My only hesitation with Dobbins is going to be Gus Edwards and Lamar Jackson.
Yeah,
So, like, as an RB1, he's going to be able to cash in, like, on a touchdown.
right.
He gets vultured sometimes. I had him in one of my other leagues last year, and he was, like, good as a flex for me. But he could emerge, he is the top back. We'll see what they do with their offense.
Absolutely.
Let's see. All right, so we got...
And someone was saying I look chubby on this. I looked at myself. Dang, I do look chubby. It's all good.
The camera adds 500 pounds.
Yeah, I need to scoot
It's a
this sucker
fact.
back a little bit, huh?
Yep. I
That's it.
weigh 100 pounds, man. It's all camera.
Oh, shoot, I'm up. All right, so A.J. Brown went. Cam Akers went.
All
I
right,
know.
Akers.
I know Steve's probably heard about A.J. Brown going. That was one of his guys this year. So I'm up looking at the board. I don't have a running back. I don't have a receiver. I don't have a tight end. This one's tough for me.
This is, yeah. What's good is you got the 2 QB stack. So your super flex is locked in
Yeah.
as long as they stay healthy.
Oh, this one's a tough one. All right, so for running backs, what I'm looking at, I got Antonio Gibson, Josh Jacobs, Miles Sanders, James Robinson, Joe Mixon. There's a lot of good running backs available still. Kareem Hunt, wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb, Chris Godwin, Terry McLaurin, Michael Thomas is still available. I feel like there's still a lot of receivers left. We talked about the tight end premium and there being a run at tight end. And I talked about TJ Hawkinson and Mark Andrews kind of being in that upper tier. So I am actually going to reach, I think this would be reaching down the board as well. Oh, man, I don't know. Yeah, this would be reaching down the board and scooping up a tight end for that tight end premium. This one's tough, though.
Like, where are all the tight ends at? New England has them.
Yep. So I'm going Mark Andrews. That one was really hard for me. I like TJ Hawkinson a lot.
I like the pick out of those two.
I just screwed myself.
Because, don't look at it like that, because the people that had Mark Andrews last year were kind of upset because he didn't produce as well. But he got COVID, and he also has diabetes, from what I remember. So they had to kind of take it easy on him. And, when Lamar can't throw to Marquise Brown, he's throwing to Mark Andrews. Just kind of like Mahomes. You know what I mean? Like, that's his safety net.
That's true. I mean, I still believe in the talent of Mark Andrews, and he is the safety net. He is the guy he's like the red zone machine for them as far as the passing game goes. But I'm just thinking, like I was talking about earlier, thinking about who's going to be available to me in the rookie draft at the 4 spot. Kyle
Yeah.
Pitts, potentially. Um, so we'll see who goes now. I probably would have been safer taking a running back at 4. Um, but yeah, I think Mark Andrews gets plenty of work in the red zone. Yeah, I think we'll be all right.
And then, I mean, there really is no guarantee who's going to be there at the 4 spot. Like, we'll see how – it all depends on how these, the 12, 11, and the 10 spot draft. Like, if they just don't go tight end at all, then you can kind of say, like, okay, what's going on here?
Right.
What are
And
you
that's
planning for?
well, that's kind of what I was looking at, and like I was telling you about the tiers, in my opinion, who the tiers are. And I've always been high on Mark Andrews. I had him a couple years ago in his breakout season, and ever since then, I just kind of saw what he could do.
Yeah.
And I think the Ravens are another team that probably have
Yeah, Joe Burrow off the board.
always feel like they have something to prove. Yep, Joe Burrow goes to Steve Duncan, our boy
All
Stevie
right.
D. He's supposed to be with us today, but he's redoing his whole house, so it's just me and Ry
Yeah.
holding it down. So Josh Jacobs, CeeDee Lamb, and then Antonio Gibson goes. Antonio Gibson is who I really wanted.
Whoa. We got a Deshaun Watson off the board.
We got a 3 quarterback stack for Stevie. Wow.
Maybe he wants to
Wow.
try to maybe, I don't know.
So Miles Sanders went. Man, that's surprising. Okay.
Well, if Deshaun Watson's legal troubles clear up,
That could be
and which
yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen there. I mean, I don't think it is. He could
No.
use one of these quarterbacks as trade bait, but with the evidence that's been put forth with Mr. Watson there, he's going to have to find a new job, I think.
Yeah, that one would be a tough sell for me, especially
Yeah.
right now. Man, I got running backs. I'm looking at James Robinson, who is awesome as a rookie, and he's obviously young, but it's got a new system coming in, new quarterback coming in. There's a lot of question
Yeah.
marks there. Joe Mixon, who should get a lot of work with Gio gone, but he's Cincinnati. Joe Burrow's got to be healthy. I actually like Joe Mixon a lot. He's kind of wishy-washy. Man, this is a tough draft, man. I gotta say, I'm having a
Yeah.
lot more trouble with these picks than I thought I was going to. I'm going to go James Robinson. Yeah,
What's Meyer going to do? Are they going to draft a running back? We kind of talked about this before. You watch James Robinson run, it's electric. Every
yep,
play. The man's got something to prove. Like he doesn't have a contract right now. He was an undrafted rookie. You know what I mean? It's guys like that emerge as like those special guys.
absolutely. And he's kind of like, show me what you can do, and he did. I think he finished as the running back 4 or something like that in fantasy elite and like standard scoring last year.
Yep.
So he proved that he can get it done on a bad team, and they just kept handing him the ball, and he just kept getting it done. So we'll see how that one plays out, but I like the pick. James Robinson being my RB1 right now.
If he was up when I went to pick, I would have picked him.
Yeah.
I would have picked Robinson in a second. So we got Rodgers.
Yeah, we got a little bit of
All
a
right.
quarterback push. Got Jalen Hurts going, who could be extremely fantasy relevant. And you saw what he did when he got the starting role. He went off from a fantasy perspective. So yeah, that one could be a solid pick unless the Eagles surprise everybody and reach up for a quarterback in this draft, which I don't think is likely, but I guess anything's possible. But I like the Jalen Hurts pick and Aaron Rodgers. So that's a So it looks like he's kind of trying to build a team to win now, I would say, with Travis Kelsey, Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he's got J.K. Dobbins, but DeAndre Hopkins, that one's tricky.
All right, so I kind of got burned by Joe Mixon last year, but I think he is a running back one if he stays healthy, and he has Joe Burrow healthy.
Thanks.
And as much as I want to go
In the rain?
wide receiver,
Sorry.
I think I'm going to go Mixon on this.
I can't knock you for that at all. I think Mixon's a great pick, especially at where you're getting him, late in the fourth. He's an RB1 and he has the opportunity. You talk about a guy that, like I said, Gio's gone. They got to hand the ball to somebody.
Exactly. Gio's gone. I think he got hurt because he danced last year, and they kind of just held him back to not re-aggravate whatever ankle issue he had. But I just think I don't think I could pass up on a running back at this position. And with my strategy, I just hope that I get lucky with wide receiver, maybe on the wire. We'll see what happens with these next picks coming up.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see the waiver wire, like I mentioned before. We have
So hopefully you want to try to find, my goal would be hopefully try to find that next Justin Jefferson.
Yep. Well, we have a 23.
Right, so we got Godwin. That's a good pick.
We have 23
he's got one.
rosters.
Godwin's a good pick. He's got 1 year left with Tampa. He wants to win a ring, and depending on what happens, he could try to get a contract somewhere else. He had a fantastic rookie season. It was insane with Winston. So maybe this year he doesn't get the share that you want, but coming up, depending on what happens with him and Mike Evans, and I don't know if they signed Antonio Brown, but this year could be a little muddy as to what his target share is going to be. But in the future, he could get a contract somewhere if he doesn't stay in Tampa. He can get a contract somewhere big and really get a lot of targets. But we will see.
That's true. Yeah, he can be RB1, wide receiver 1 on quite a few teams. I think Chris Godwin's. It's hard when you're playing with Mike Evans, like you said. They have a good receiving core down there. So, and then Tom Brady loves to spread the ball around. So.
All right. So we've got 3 teams right now without a quarterback.
Yeah,
QB streaming is viable. I mean, it's if that would be my go-to if it wasn't a super flex league.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a feeling we will see some quarterbacks start to come off the board once we get to the next 5-7, I think.
I'm not sure streaming a quarterback is going to be an option too often. We have 23 person.
Right? Can you hear me, Mike?
Yep. Welcome back.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, I don't know. You stopped being able to hear me, so I just can't X the whole thing. So I'm on the board right now. I'm looking at wide receivers. Who I have left is T. Higgins, DJ Moore, Mike Evans, Amari Cooper, Kenny Golladay, who last year he was getting drafted as a top 5 wide receiver. I think his stock does go down. I like T. Higgins a lot. I'm going to go T. Higgins here. He's kind of the guy for Cincinnati now, especially he's young with Joe Burrow. Yeah, that would have been a hard one for me to pass up, especially since I didn't have a wide receiver. So Steve apparently is having issues.
Yeah, it lagged a little bit. You said Steve's having issues?
Yeah, I think something auto-picked Deshaun Watson for him on the last go-around, and as I was texting him who he was trying to pick, I was going to admin pick it for him at that spot.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I was trying to pick Michael Thomas, and then you picked Michael Thomas. So let's see if I can admin pick. Oh, shit. Yeah, so I have to pick for Steve like this, I believe. Yeah. He's texting me right now, so I'm trying to correspond with him.
Okay.
He's yeah.
All right, so we got.
So Mike Evans goes, Tua goes, Chris Carson finally goes. So K-Ron's got a pretty good running back stack with Nick Chubb, Antonio Gibson, and Chris Carson.
Yeah. Oh. So we are. So we got Tex. I'm liking Tex Mariners stack of running backs as well.
Mm-hmm.
If Saquon stays healthy.
And he's got the fourth running back in Lamar Jackson. Just kidding.
Yep, exactly. All right, so we're coming back to you, Mike.
All right. So I'm on the clock now. I got a receiver that I wanted. Brandon Ayuk just went off. DJ Moore went off. Mike Evans went off. Yeah, so I still have Amari Cooper. Still have some pretty quality receivers looking at me. Amari Cooper, Kenny Galladay, Chase Claypool could be a breakout. He's another young guy. Running backs, it's kind of slimming out there. This draft has been pretty running back heavy. Quarterbacks, I feel like there's still some value at quarterback. Yeah, so I'm definitely gonna go wide receiver here.
Okay.
And I'm bouncing back and forth between. Ooh, this one's tough. I got some time working against me. What happened to Amari Cooper? You just banged up.
I can't remember.
I'm going Amari Cooper. I'm not going to overthink it.
It's Dak's man.
Yeah, exactly. Amari Cooper is, he's the one on a really good offense, in my opinion. I know they have CeeDee Lamb, who stepped up big time, and he's going to get a lot of work, especially in the future in a dynasty format. But it's Amari Cooper, man. I'm not going to overthink it.
No. All right, so we got. All right. We got Kenny Galladay, Chase Claypool, Jerry Jeudy, Deontay Johnson, Cooper Kupp, wide receiver wise. Juju's kind of fallen, which is expected.
Yep.
The only argument I could make for maybe him is his contract year. I think it's just a 1-year deal he has with the Steelers. He wants to maybe prove himself and make money elsewhere.
So I got to say, from a dynasty standpoint, I really like Steve Place's team. Josh Allen, DeAndre Swift, Cam Akers, Terry McLaurin, and Keenan Allen. I think that DeAndre Swift, Cam Akers stack at running back, those are two really young running backs that showed a lot of promise last year to just be bell cows in their own right. And obviously Josh Allen, I think that could be huge value in those first 3 rounds.
see what else we got. All right, so we got Hunter Henry.
Hunter Henry goes first. So he's obviously going to split some time with Jonnu Smith in New England. So that's kind of a question mark one. I think that was auto pick, by the way. Yeah, it was auto pick. Which I'm probably going to head into auto pick here in this next round or two. See, I'll probably get to the ninth round where I feel like the value kind of drops down a little bit.
Let's take a look. We got, with Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith, that's going to be kind of like the question. Who's going to get like the targets, or is it just going to be split between the two?
Right.
Let's see what else we got. All right, time is ticking. Let's see what he's gonna do.
And isn't that so, like the most nervous?
Yeah.
I hate that.
All right, Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield goes. So Coffey's got his QB stack, Jalen Hurts and Baker Mayfield. He might be looking at some of the quarterbacks in the rookie draft. So that's another aspect of Dynasty that I'm not used to is trading picks. Obviously you can trade picks, you can trade players for picks, just like a normal franchise would. So I'll be curious to see if one of these teams that maybe missed out on, like I'm looking at Kieran's team and he's got Tua, which could be a good pick by himself, but if he wants another quality running back, I guess he's got the first pick, so that's probably why he's playing it that way.
Yeah.
I could see him going with one of those young quarterbacks first in the rookie draft. So looking back at some of the teams in the first few rounds or the first couple picks of this draft, Kirk Cousins he's got the last pick in the rookie draft. Our Vikings fan. So he just asked a question. Oh.
So we got Julio Jones. All right, so I'm up next. Let's see what we got.
Yep, Julio Jones goes.
So we got, I'm thinking maybe another wide receiver. And it's going to be between Chase Claypool and Deontay Johnson. Chase Claypool did have like that breakout year. I'm kind of liking Deontay Johnson's rapport with Ben Roethlisberger. Now, who's to say how long he's going to be there? And I also see Kenny Galladay, Jerry Jeudy. This is a tough one between these guys.
Yeah, that one is tough.
Oh, man.
You do have some rookie wide receivers coming into this draft as well. Something to think about.
Yeah.
You're kind of at a bad spot to pick one of those if they go early, but
I think I'm going to go Deontay Johnson.
yeah, I like that pick. I don't think the drop thing will continue. I think drops is all about, like we talked about on one of the previous episodes.
Yeah.
Drops has a lot to do with A, confidence, and B, just focus. And I think when the Steelers they started super hot and they were destroying everybody and their confidence was really high. They're playing great ball, and then they started losing a couple and everybody just like started like highly scrutinizing the Steelers, and especially because they're like making TikTok videos and all this stuff. But I think towards the end of the season, once he understood that he stopped dropping the ball as much. He started making big plays again.
Yeah.
So I think Deontay Johnson's a good pick there. Dallas Goddard, another tight end, goes, excuse me, at the 609. That's a good pick. He's kind of the Eagles' sole tight end right now.
He's it. Yeah.
Yep. So he could kind of be a breakout tight end, if you will. Tight ends, like we talked about, it's kind of tough to decide who. Robert Tonyan just went. He's another one that I think is a really valuable tight end right now. Another young guy. Aaron Rodgers loves him, obviously. So there's some guys that they're like one or two steps away from being in that like upper tier of tight ends,
Absolutely. Both of those guys could emerge. All right, so
Claypool goes. I like Alex's team too. Like you said, the CMC and CEH stack, George Kittle, Stafford. I think he's got a lot of players that people are overlooking a lot of those players, but I think he's got a solid squad. I think it's going to be a competitive league.
Especially Adam Thielen. He was dropping a lot on like an ADP because of Justin Jefferson. But It's just kind of like Kirk Cousins is like he's usually going two reads. Is Jefferson open? Nope. Thielen will get a completion. That's just kind of like the way it goes. Logan Thomas. So that's another promising young tight end. He was actually doing pretty well near the end of the season last year. Wasn't he supposed to be a quarterback too? I can't remember.
Logan Thomas, yeah, I think so. I think he played quarterback.
All right.
Yeah, Logan Thomas was definitely like the number one streaming quarterback. Tight end last year. I feel like anytime a team needed a tight end to play big, they just plugged Logan Thomas in there and he had a big game. It was like.
Okay. So everyone's staying away pretty much from the 49ers running backs, which is smart.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like looking at the board right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And A.J. Dillon, too. I kind of was thinking A.J. Dillon might have went earlier because, just how he looked at the end, and he's young and he's huge. But then they re-signed Aaron Jones, obviously, and everyone was like, well, so much for that.
He kind of be good more for like the long haul.
Yeah.
Because I can't even remember what Aaron Jones, his contract was signed for. Was it 3 years?
I want to say yes. I want to say it was 3. Yeah. Don't quote me on that, but.
So, you don't really see Dillon emerging in that offense, at least for the foreseeable future, unless Aaron Jones gets hurt. But when Dillon ran, he was a beast. He reminded me of kind of like Derrick Henry light. All right, so we got Christian. Okay.
So Juju goes. I'm curious to see how Juju plays this season.
Yeah.
Just like we were talking about being scrutinized for TikToks and stuff, he was like the focal point of that. But he still had his games where he showed that he can still get it done.
Yeah. It just seems like he doesn't really have his head in the game, is what it seems like. He's a little more like, and I understand, like, he kind of wants to build up a social media presence. He's kind of thinking after the league, you know what I mean? He wants to make his money after with whatever they do.
Sure.
But that doesn't make you money right now, like having that social media presence and.
Right.
I
mean, he's a young guy, man. A lot of these guys, just like you talk about, it's like, what do you think happens when you give 21-year-old millions of dollars?
Yeah, they go wild. It's expected.
Yeah.
Right.
Can you imagine what I was doing if I had $1 million at that age?
Yep. Chase Edmonds.
That's kind of another curious one. We'll see how that plays out. If it's going to be
Yeah.
committee, Chase Edmonds obviously pass catching back, so good for PPR. And we've seen James Conner not stay healthy before. So like I was saying, when they signed him, if James Conner, the thing about having a running back by committee is all the running backs have to be healthy. If James Conner isn't healthy, then Chase Edmonds is a smash play every time.
Yep.
So we'll see.
He's definitely going to be Edmonds I mean, he's a good flex option.
Yep.
Because with these nuts as running backs, he's got Aaron Jones, David Montgomery. So that's a 1-2. And then now it's coming back to me. Let's take a look. So we got,
Man, Kenny Galladay's still sitting there. That's
yeah, I
surprising.
know. It's like hanging there. But, you
Yeah.
got Sterling Shepard.
Evan Ingram.
Yeah, it's tempting. He's playing with Daniel Jones, and that's going to kind of be the question.
Yep.
Can Daniel Jones in his third year get a quarterback that they want? That's going to be the question.
But you got to think with Saquon back and the offense just operating more efficiently. I don't know. I feel like I could get behind that.
Yeah. So for me right now, it's definitely.
You got some pretty good receivers though with Deontay Johnson, Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas, you got really good value, I think, where you got him. In the 5th round. Well,
I'm thinking maybe Kenny Galladay. It was either that or Melvin Gordon. I know he's a little bit old, but he is pretty much their only running back now.
Yeah, he is. Yep. I traded for him late last season, and he was more than worth it. He produced for me every game fantasy-wise that I played him in. And I think he was a big part of my playoff run last year where I got to the championship.
I think he's a little too much to pass up. I think I got to go Kenny Galladay here.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I'm definitely taking a chance with this New York offense, but I'm just hoping Saquon gets back. It runs as it's supposed to run, and Daniel Jones can make throws.
And he slings it. Daniel Jones is not afraid to get the ball around, and that could be a huge benefit for Kenny Galladay, and because he's kind of just go up and get it. Doesn't have to be the best thrown ball. We've seen him make plays where he, you know what I mean, like with Stafford, like he used to do with Megatron.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Kenny Galladay is Megatron-like because there's not many people who are, but he makes similar type plays where it doesn't have to be the best thrown ball. He's gonna make a play, and I think he's talent-wise definitely was the best available.
He can mix it up. He can make the contested catch. I like the Melvin Gordon pick after. I was kind of like, what am I going to do?
Yeah, they might be listening to us.
He's gonna get the he'll get the Gordon is
he's
right
RB1.
now, the share of the targets and carries.
Damian Harris goes next. Cooper Kupp right after him, and then I believe I'm on the board right now.
Okay.
So Cooper Kupp was a good pick, and I was thinking about him too. We're talking about that new LA offense, Matt Stafford, and they're gonna, they're gonna score a lot.
Yeah.
So I definitely like those guys. Looking down a little bit, look at OBJ. Like OBJ is still on the board. What round are we in right now? 7th.
He's fallen a lot.
Yeah. That one's tricky.
Jones.
Yeah, I got Rojo.
On the board.
Playoff Lenny's still there. Mike Davis in Atlanta. I mean, if Mike Davis can do what he, emulate what he did, I know he's going to probably split carries. Is Todd Gurley still in Atlanta? He is, right?
No, I think they released him. Let me double check. I'm curious.
Because Mike Davis, they signed him. But then I still got Garrett.
Right now.
And I still got Jerry Jeudy, young wide receiver, staring at me. DJ Chark, who's going to have a good young quarterback. And there's some good wide receivers. Man, Mostert's kind of staring at me too.
Yeah, like, I mean, if he can stay healthy, that's always the thing with
Yeah.
Mostert. You'll
Yep.
get him for, 7 games, and then he's out for 2. They try to put him back in. Then he gets a high ankle sprain. Then he's out for another game.
It's true.
You know who had – so he had the fastest run last year. I was looking it up. You know who had the second fastest run that they clocked last year? Kenyon Drake.
Really?
Yes. He had the second fastest run that they clocked last year. And I know he's with Oakland now, and that's a timeshare. I usually like to stay away from those timeshares. But that's a fun little factoid to know about him. Like, he can still run fast.
Then that's important.
But if he can stay healthy.
I'm told that's important in this game.
I've heard running backs need to run, and if they can run fast, it's pretty sweet.
That's a plus if they run fast, for sure.
Yes.
So I know Steve's listening to us, or he's just thinking alike because he went and snatched Mostert right behind me.
Yeah.
It's making me looking like a fool for taking DJ Chark. Jerry Jeudy, I think, is good value at the 11 spot there, 5'11". Laviska Shenault goes off. And I'm kind of glad that this happened this way because I was thinking about reaching for Mike Davis. He's talking about Atlanta's offense being better. And I figured,
too, man.
Yep, and I figured out of Mike Davis and DJ Chark, I feel like DJ Chark would have been picked up before him, and I was right there, so I'm glad for that. So I'm going to go ahead and get Mike Davis now.
Yep, that's a good pick, man. He really proved himself in Carolina last year.
Yeah.
Like in my family league, he helped get you to the championship. Like when Mccaffrey went down.
And even if he steps into a Todd Gurley-like role, I mean, Todd Gurley, say what you want about him, but he was fantasy relevant last year. Like, even if it was just him falling in the end zone on 1-yard runs, 3 times a game, you could still plug him in as your RB2. And I'm probably going to be using Mike Davis similarly here. And I think he could be as fantasy relevant, but more likely more fantasy relevant than Todd Gurley was last year.
I think he will because he's going to be able to stay healthy. Like, from what I know, he doesn't have a knee issue, and the guy can ball. Like, he can do what Todd Gurley does.
For sure.
Okay, so we got Mr. Steve Place. I'm curious to see where Colin Kaepernick goes. I'm holding out.
He's going to the Washington Generals.
Yep.
I'm actually surprised he didn't get signed, if we're being honest.
Me too.
Like he could still play, but that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day, I suppose.
There's always a potential for him to come back too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, he might be done, but from what I know, like, he was a pretty good quarterback.
Yep.
So we got Hayden Hurst off the board. See, what I am thinking, I really think Atlanta is going to pick. That's not me, right? I think they might go Pitts with that 4, so that could throw a wrench into Hayden Hurst's plans.
I think so too. I was going to say, I think Hayden Hurst, from what I understand, even if they don't go Kyle Pitts, I think he's kind of like, I mean, he's definitely their first option, but I think he's on a slippery slope for sure.
Yeah.
But he's another guy that, like, I believe in the skill of Hayden Hurst. And I just think, like, with his injuries and stuff, he's had a rough go in Atlanta. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
I mean, I just took Mike Davis. I just took the running back. So
it's So we got Tyler Boyd, A.J. Dillon.
James Conner's still there. He's going to get the goal line carries for Arizona. I mean, it's not going to be Kyla Murray or Chase Edmonds, so.
Yeah. Let's see.
Unless they just throw it on every down.
I'm thinking maybe QB here.
Yeah, I feel like this draft has not went very heavy on QBs, which I was surprised at. Obviously, I took 2 QBs my first and second picks. I mean, I feel like I got 2 stud QBs, but still, like, man, I would have thought they would have been going in those first 2 rounds more.
All right. This is kind of a risk, but when it comes to QBs, you definitely want a QB that can run. And I definitely think they're gonna put Cam Newton on the goal line a lot again this year.
Yep. I would agree. And you talk about another guy who's now used to the system and also has a chip on his shoulder. Look, I mean, he's getting dogged by like high school kids a couple weeks ago. Like,
yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
You know, according to the ADP here, I was kind of reaching, but I went like that's definitely kind of more of a win now type move because I passed up a lot of good QBs like Sam Darnold. We were kind of talking about how he is also somebody with something to prove.
Mm-hmm.
And if anyone's commenting, I can't see anything. I don't have my glasses on.
So I'm actually looking at comments on Facebook and on our draft chat. So I'm kind of, and obviously our conversation here, but it's all good.
You know what would be great? Like, I know he's not going to fall this far, but if Justin Fields could go to New England and play behind Cam Newton, you know, like, I don't know what's going to happen, but I do feel like if, depending on whoever the Patriots are eyeing, be it Mac Jones or Justin Fields, like, I could see in the future, like, if Justin Fields goes to San Francisco at 3, I could see them New England trying to trade up to get Mac Jones and vice versa. So let's say Mac Jones goes to San Francisco at 3. Like, especially with the system that they're putting in place around Cam Newton, like, I could see them trying to, like, trade with the Lions or someone to try to pick up Fields if he actually does fall as far as other people thinking he's falling. But,
I was going to say, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was saying I saw two mocks today that had the Lions picking Justin Fields at 7, which I think would be cool. But I think more likely, I feel like they could trade down for like a boatload of picks again, and stock up for the next years. And like you said, maybe one of those teams jumps up for Justin Fields at 7. And the GM for the Lions said yesterday, I don't know if you saw it, but he said that he's already had talks with teams about trading that 7th pick. So I could see that. I could see that happening for sure. But I do think even if they do go Justin Fields, I don't think he starts right away over Cam. So I think Cam's a safe pick. I think Cam is just, even where he's at in his career now, he can still get it done as a QB1. And even if he starts struggling, that's maybe when Justin Fields steps in. But I think if Justin Fields goes to New England, he plays behind Cam and learns from Cam, because obviously Cam is a Super Bowl MVP caliber quarterback. Obviously he's older and he's got some injuries he's dealt with, but yeah, I think that's a good pick. Daniel Jones goes right after that. Tyler Boyd, Tom Brady goes, Carson Wentz goes. So now we're seeing a quarterback push here in the 8th round. Yeah. I mean, these are all good streaming quarterbacks that, like, in normal leagues you could just pick up, you know, if your quarterback's on a bye and just plug them right in. Interesting to see how this goes in the Superflex. I'm curious to see if some of these guys going in the 8th, 9th round quarterback-wise, I'm curious to see if by the end of the season they're just like kind of weekly starters in that Superflex spot, just because I've never played with it before. So, you know, I have Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson. I don't see me taking Russell Wilson out of the Superflex spot for Mike Davis, or any, you know what I mean, like one of these other guys, that I'm going to
Yeah.
pick up here in these late rounds. I just don't see it ever happening, even if the matchup's great,
Yeah, neither
unless,
do
of
I.
course, they're injured. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out.
You kind of broke up there, Mike. Can you repeat the last thing you said?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, go on. I
Yeah,
think
I was
it
just
might be
saying.
me.
I was just saying that I'll be interesting to see if the quarterbacks that are going in these late rounds to teams that just are now getting their second quarterback. I'm curious to see if they become like weekly super flex starters
Yeah.
over some of, you know what I mean, over some of the maybe wide receivers and running backs drafted before that.
I mean,
Just because
like ideally, if you can, you want to throw that QB into the superflex.
yep,
It just makes the most sense unless you have some kind of like you got to steal on someone that's like a wide receiver 1 or an RB1 caliber player. You can throw them in there, but I always look at it at the most basic sense is that the QB has the ball most of the time, and as John Madden
right,
says, the QB has the ball and he goes into the end zone. That's a touchdown.
yep.
420 no scope.
420 no scope it is.
you know.
When we talk football, you got to talk about scoring, running fast, throwing that dang ball as far as it
Yep.
can go. And that's how you just be great.
Yep. Don't forget the Gatorade.
The Gatorade
Hydrate.
is, yeah. That's all you got to think about.
All right, so we got Bad Luck Bowlby coming up. I do like that Ryan Tannehill pick at quarterback. I think that was a good value pick. Ryan Tannehill he is just like always underestimated.
Yep. Wait, when did Ryan Tannehill go? Oh, he
So he
went
went,
earlier, yeah. Fifth
yeah,
round.
fifth.
That's what I love about this sleeper draft. Like, it's just so, like, visually pleasing. I don't know if you can see my screen. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like, it's so easy. It's great.
So far, I like the decision to go to sleeper. I'm liking just like the usability is on point, and like you said, I don't know, aesthetically, like the draft board, like you were just pointing out, looks great.
Yeah, I mean, even on the app, you can see it. It looks great. It's easy. It's user friendly from what I've seen so far. Once you figure out all the little, it's just like any app. You got to figure out the little ins and outs. But I like it so far.
All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take, let me just double check here, because I'm looking at the quad father, A.J. Dillon.
The quad father.
So he could be a good long-term type hold.
Yeah, he could. I mean, and you talk about Aaron Jones. I don't think Aaron Jones ever really struggled with injury, so that's kind of out of the question. But you never know, man. It's hard to predict. And AJ Dillon's a young guy, like you said. Even if he doesn't get his chance or whatever until a couple years down the line, he could still have a lot of value in the long run.
I think with Jones, from what I remember, he had maybe a knee issue, but what running back doesn't?
Mm-hmm.
12 games into the season.
Yep.
Let me see. How much time do I got left? 50 seconds.
You got some time.
Maybe.
Okay, I've got like you can use empty liquor bottles, obviously, but I've got
Thinking. It's okay. Maybe Odell, but I don't like the rapport he has with Baker Mayfield. It seems like they're not on the same page. So I'm not going with him. I'll just take A.J. Dillon as maybe a value hold.
Yep, I like it. I like it for all those reasons we just laid out.
He doesn't look like a PPR monster, but I mean, from the games I saw, maybe they didn't utilize him in the pass game. Maybe he can catch passes, but we'll just see. Oop, there's Sam Darnold.
My
That's
boy
your
Sammy Darnold. Hey man, he could be a sleeper. He could be
He
a
could.
sleeper.
It's Adam Gase. That is the thing.
Yeah.
Look at Ryan Tannehill.
Got out of Gase.
Yep. All right, so we got Darnold off the board. QB wise, what are we looking at? Who's left? We got Matt Ryan, Derek Carr. Oh, we have Jared Goff or Ryan Gosling.
Cole Kmet just went. So another tight end. And it's going to be interesting with this tight end premium. There's a couple teams that got a couple tight ends already. Team that's picking now has got Hunter Henry, Hayden Hurst. I think one of those was an auto pick maybe. Can't remember. But either way, it'll be interesting to see.
Still a good tight end.
Yeah, Alex has got George Kittle and Evan Ingram. It's 2 Pro Bowlers. So it could be definitely useful. So I'm up next. Let's see what I should be looking at. Oh, shoot. And this is such a long draft. I'm probably going to work.
Go
ahead.
We're going all the way to 23 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
When we take rookies, how's that going to work bench-wise? Do we have to draft some people on the bench?
I think so. Yeah, there was a question about that in our chat, and I think it's going to be. Yeah, we could have just talked through it here. I think it's going to be where you have to drop X amount of guys or something like that, because our benches are going to be huge anyway. Once you get to the 20th round, we're going to be picking guys that maybe we've never even heard of. We've probably heard of them, but we're talking about way down on the draft or on the depth charts. So. Sorry.
Real quick.
Matt Ryan goes.
That's a good pick.
I have one that I've been looking at, and I'm just going to go ahead and pull the trigger. I feel like my team is more, like I was talking about before, you're either building your team to win now or win long term. I feel like my team right now is more of a win now team, so I'm going to continue that trend with James Conner. And I know he's had his injury things. We just talked about that. But like I said, I think he is the goal line option for the Cardinals. They're not going to be running Kyler or Chase Edmonds on the goal line. So,
I mean, he's pretty much kind of like how they utilize Austin Eckler in San Diego. It's, they had to bring in Kalen Ballage to do the goal line carries. Eckler is electric. He's a fantastic PPR running back, but you don't put a guy that size, even though he's a beast, he can apparently squat 600 pounds. The dude's insane in that way, but he doesn't have that big body to kind of go through the goal line. So I think that James Conner, he's definitely be getting the goal line carries there. I had to move this crap because my phone is a piece.
No worries. I'm probably going to end this. I'm probably going to end the live after the 10th round, right as soon as the 10 gets to the end. Just because I got to eat dinner and I got the dog and all this stuff going on. Actually, I'm probably just going to end it here after the 9th. These next 2 picks, I'll end it. So we'll wrap it up. James Conner, like you said, I picked James Conner. We're here in the 9th round, and that's what we were talking about. The value now is starting to kind of taper off a little bit. And I feel like these are some of the guys that you might be you're definitely going to keep these guys once you get into the very later rounds. We're talking, 18 and below. Those are the guys you're going to be probably dropping for the rookies coming in, so.
Good draft so far, though. Lots of good picks. All right, so we're coming back. We got playoff Lenny still on the board. Nope, he's gone.
Not no more.
There we go. I like Texas' stack of running backs, man, especially with Saquon falling that far.
Yep, Odell goes at 9. I'm back on the board. Shoot, so I'll end it after my pick, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm back on the board. So recap: Zach Moss went right after me. Derek Carr, Odell, Jared Goff, Leonard Fournette, and then Irv Smith, another tight end. So I've kind of been trying to stack my bench with some possible flex options, some running backs. Wide receivers available, there's still quite a few. Jarvis is still there, which I think is pretty good value.
Yeah.
Where we're at. So I'm going to go ahead and take, so I like Curtis Samuel a lot too, and he's in a new offense in Washington. Only question mark is the quarterback play, how that's going to look. Debo, he's another guy that's been pretty useful in San Francisco.
But there are a lot of good value wide receivers right now.
Yeah, there is.
Landry.
Yeah, I'm going to reach down and take Jarvis just because I feel like he's always kind of been a solid pickup. I mean, he produces pretty much every year. He's like a 900-yard-a-year player pretty steadily. Yeah. So, and with that,
go
ahead.
No, I was just going to say, Landry, he's Baker Mayfield's target. He's getting the targets that Odell doesn't get.
Right. So I am going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you all for watching. We're still drafting, but this is what we're doing this week. So we'll upload it to the stream soon. All right, y'all. Have a good one.
Peace.